Greetings and salutations, and thank you for clicking on this video. This is the second in our series of videos called Beginner's Guide to the Desktop. And in our first video, we took a look at Windows 98, and I showed you the basic components of a desktop. They have endured through the years. And from now on, we're going to be looking at Linux desktops, and I'm going to be explaining more about those individual basic components. I had a hard time trying to figure out where to start here simply because of the fact that there is so much choice in Linux. So we're looking at the Cinnamon desktop right now, and you see icons. I got a file manager open. I got me a menu down here. I got me a taskbar or a panel, and there's a switcher here so I can switch between applications, launchers, applets, the whole 9 yards. When people refer to desktop environments in Linux, you hear people talk about KDE, Unity, XFCE, Mate, and on and on. And a newbie is just so confused because what they sound like are big monolithic programs. A desktop environment on Linux is not a monolithic program at all. It is a bunch of little programs that are all hung together in such a way that it creates a user environment, a graphic user environment. If you are coming to Linux from something like Windows or Mac, where you're pretty much stuck with the user environment they give you, then the number of choices in Linux is just dazzling, and people do get confused. So what I wanted to do today was to actually start from the beginning. Let's talk about the basic parts of the system that actually draw pictures that you see on your screen and are common to all Linux desktop environments. So I think this is going to be a really fun video. If you are somebody who's been around Linux for a long time and you already know a lot of this stuff, be warned that I am going to generalize a lot here. I'm not going to show you how to configure this stuff. I'm just showing you concepts and explaining what these components do, so keep that in mind. One of the really cool things about Linux is the fact that if you don't like something, you can change it. So on the Cinnamon desktop here, you get Nemo as your default file manager. If I want to get rid of Nemo, all I got to do is uninstall it and then put another file manager on here. There's Thunar. There's Nautilus, there's many to choose from, and I can integrate that with my desktop by setting up configuration files to make that the default file manager, for instance. And that is possible because all Linux desktops run on the same platform. So let's get into that platform right now and talk about the graphics stack and what it does and how it works. This is Ubuntu 16.04 LTS. And it is running in a virtual machine, and there is no desktop. What you are seeing now is called a TTY. Back in the early days of computers, when computers filled up entire rooms, you would have terminals hooked up to them that were actual teletype machines. So it's a typewriter, and you start typing, and your keystrokes are sent to the computer, and it interprets what you type, and then the output is printed on the same paper that what you type is printed on. Big roll of paper. That's how it used to be. So even today in Linux and Unix, we talk about TTY terminals. Linux is ordinarily configured to spin up 8 TTYs when it boots. So what the computer does is it loads the kernel, and then the kernel looks for a command line interpreter. That would be something like bash or corn or sh. And of course, if you've been around Linux, you know what bash is. Bash is even used in other systems as well. It's used in Mac. You can even have it on your Windows 10 machine these days. And as soon as it does that, it opens up 8 terminals. That's usually the default number, but you can have more or less depending on how it's configured. And those terminals are accessible to the average Linux user just by some keyboard commands. So in this case, we're on TTY1, but I can switch to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. And I'm doing that just by using alternate control together and then pressing the F keys, F1 up through F8. Now, I'm at a terminal, so I can log in. So let's do it. Now, while I'm here, There are plenty of applications that run in a terminal. They don't need graphics to work. So for instance, I just pulled up a calendar. I can edit documents here. I can listen to music here. I can surf the web here if I want to, if I have a web browser installed that doesn't require graphics. So that's pretty cool. But what if I want to run an application that needs graphics? Let me try and open Firefox. Well, I get an error on the screen, and it's saying that it has no place to display anything. And that is because in this particular terminal right now, I don't have any way for Firefox to draw the pictures that it wants to on the screen. The X server is installed, which is the first thing that we need to talk about. The X server is a program that runs in the background on Linux systems that have it installed. And what it does is it takes commands from a program and then it interprets those commands and translates them into commands that it sends to a client. The X client actually interacts with the hardware on the machine and draws the picture. The important thing to understand here is that it is separated into a server-client relationship. The reason why that is done is because if I want to access a machine remotely and I want to run an application that requires an X Windows environment to run, then I can get that machine to send me the commands necessary to draw the picture on my end, and my X client will interact with the video card in the computer and tell it what to draw. Pretty cool, huh? I'm going to demonstrate that a little bit later on in this video. So the main thing to remember about X is that it's divided up into a server and client. Now, you may hear people talking about things like Wayland and Mirror, which are new display systems that are meant to replace X. And they are coming somewhere down the road somewhere. But for right now, most of you who are running Linux, probably all of you, are running X while you're watching this video. X is old. It's been around for a long time. And X actually predates desktops entirely. Before there were graphic user environments, there was X, and there was the ability to draw graphics on the screen. So in order to run an application that requires us to draw something on the screen other than what you can get in a terminal, just plain text, we have to start an X client. So I'm going to use the command start X to start a basic X client, and this is the one that comes with X. And you're going to see something that looks like a computer screen that has graphics on it. This is not a desktop. We are simply running a Windows system, a window environment where we can use applications that are designed to send calls to X to tell it what to draw. And we got a terminal up here. I have that open because you really need a terminal when you jump in here. Otherwise, you have no control over the system. The basic X environment we're using here will actually allow me to open up another terminal because a little menu pops up when I right-click outside of a window, and I can open up another terminal. Well, we're going to be working in pretty much one terminal for this. And you'll also notice that if I take my mouse and I point it outside of the window, that the cursor stops blinking white. That means that the focus of my keyboard is now off of that window. If I had another window open up over here, this would accept the input that I would type. So now we can open up Firefox and it should render on the screen properly. Great, I got Firefox. Awesome. So I have the ability to look at things on the web. I have a graphics-based web browser. Awesome. And go ahead and close that. Now, you'll notice on our terminal here that I don't have any buttons to close or open anything. It's just a terminal. So I can open up the file menu there, and I've got close in there. But it doesn't have any window decorations. There's no title bar. There are no buttons on it. Now, we had some on Firefox, and the reason why we did was because I have my Firefox set up to use something called client-side decorations. You'll hear people talk about that in Linux, especially referring to GTK apps. And these are applications that don't need the program we're going to talk about next in order to have buttons that actually do things. So for instance, let me open up gedit. Gedit is a GTK application, and it has client-side decorations. So now you see I got open and close buttons, and I got some stuff that I can do up there. Great. But let me open up Thunderbird, which is my mail client. Here comes Thunderbird. And now you see I don't have any buttons to open or close things. And if I go to the menu here to try and get to those sorts of things, maybe I want to tell the system that I'd like to have a menu. So usually I think in Thunderbird to do that you would right click to get the toolbar. Well, that doesn't work, and this menu's not working. This is a problem here. I can't really do much with this. So what am I going to do? Well, fortunately I can't move it, so I can't get to that terminal. I think I can move it. But if you'll notice here in the terminal, I can't even execute a command because this Thunderbird is running in this terminal. So I can just do Control-C. Let's see if that takes that input. Well, that worked. I could also open up another terminal by right-clicking here and then using a kill command and killing that application. But I was able to kill it that way, so that's pretty cool. But I don't have full functionality. There's something missing here. It doesn't feel like a desktop. And that's because I'm not running any window manager, which is the next application that we need to talk about. A window manager, it does a lot of really groovy things. First of all, it provides the decorations that you see around Windows, the title bars, the buttons, and stuff like that. That is, if the application needs a Windows manager. A lot of applications these days that run in GTK don't. They have client-side decorations. But if you don't have that, like this terminal here, I can't do anything with it. I can't move it. I don't have any right-click. I don't have any buttons. I don't have anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to start up a window manager manually. And the one we're going to use is Compiz because that's the one that Ubuntu uses with the Unity desktop. There are lots of other window managers. There's Kwin, there's Compton, Metacity, Mutter, plenty. But today we're going to use Compiz. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to type in a command, C-O-M-P-I-Z, and then I am going to put it in the background. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because I want Compiz to run, but I don't want it to take up a terminal. I don't want to have a terminal sitting up here that all it does is just run Compiz. I want to be able to use this one terminal for something else, so I'm going to throw it in the background. Now, what you would ordinarily do if you were setting up an X environment like this is that you would throw this in a script somewhere so it would go ahead and start Compiz when X started. But since this is a basic configuration and I wanted to show you what the desktop looked like without it, we're going to do it manually. So now we're running Compiz. Compiz is actually running in the background, and if I run PS here, it's going to show me all the jobs that are running. And you see I have bash running, Compiz, and the PS command, which shows me the processes, and Compiz is running in the background. So now I've got window decorations. Look at that. So now I can actually move my terminal and put it in the middle here. I can resize the terminal. Well, hold on. There we go. Get that to click just right. Now I can resize the terminal. And I'm not getting any desktop effects from my window manager like you're used to seeing. And that's because we're just using the very basic window manager. We don't have any of those wobbly window effects or anything or animations running here. This is just a very basic X session. But now I can actually use this. I can do something with it. So let's just, for instance, open up some applications here. Let's open up Firefox. And I'm going to separate that with a pipe. And we're going to open up Thunderbird. Separate that with a pipe. And let's open up, I don't know, what else could you possibly need? Let's just open up a text editor, and we're going to open up gedit. So now the system is going to go out and it's going to open up all of these applications. So now we have something that looks more like a desktop, doesn't it? I mean, now look at this. I've got applications running. I got Firefox I can switch, hold on. Lost focus there. I want to be on this desktop, and I'm going to use alternate tab. And now Compiz gives us a way to switch back and forth between the applications, and it shows us which ones that we're switching to. So I can even get back to my terminal there. I have control. So now what we have is, this is a window manager. That's all we're running. This isn't a desktop. It's not a desktop environment at all. So you'll hear people talk about window managers. This is what they are, and this is how they work. So, yeah, it doesn't seem to be wanting to render very well on my applications that I opened up. Like I said, this is very much a non-standard way to run this. But it does show you that now I have control of my email client, and I can actually get work done. But to tell the system to do something, I am now just going to have to use a terminal and type in commands. So if we go back to our terminal here, well, I really don't have I can't do anything with that terminal because all of these programs are running in this terminal right now. So in order to execute commands to the system, I'm going to have to minimize. Let's go ahead and minimize that. And we will minimize the mail client and open up another terminal. We're getting there. It's not quite a desktop environment yet, is it? So what happens now? I have all these applications that are running. If I would just kill Compiz. Let's go ahead and have let's go ahead and have Thunderbird up front because it has some client-side decorations. We're going to get another terminal here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this command, kill all Compiz. Now remember, Compiz is running in the background. Oh. Type in the right thing, dummy. Hit the wrong key there. Well, definitely something happened on our desktop. Firefox brought itself forward. Now I can't switch between applications. Go ahead and close Firefox. You see that we've lost all our Windows decorations. Now I show you that because of the fact that sometimes when you're working at a Linux desktop, you'll be typing along and you'll look up and all of a sudden you don't have any window decorations like we don't have here, and now I can't control any of this stuff. So if you have a keyboard shortcut that will allow you to open up a terminal in Ubuntu, that's alternate control and T, you can just open up a terminal and you could restart Compiz. And if I was going to restart Compiz on Ubuntu, then I would use sudo and let's see, it's with 1604 it would be sudo kill all Compiz. And then what that would do is Compiz is set up in the Unity desktop to automatically restart itself. So if Compiz ever shuts itself down, it already has a command in there that says, hey, this is important, keep it running. So if I did that in a regular desktop, like a Unity desktop, it would just start right back up, and then I'd get my decorations back. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. All right, so we've looked at a basic Windows Manager style desktop here. But now let's talk a little bit about what the display manager does, because we touched on that earlier. Now let me show you what that really does as we log into our desktop. So I'm going to switch TTYs now, and I'm going to go to TTY 7. In Ubuntu, TTY 7 has our display manager running on it. There it is. And this display manager right here will log us into a full Unity desktop. So this is actually telling me that I'm logged in some other place on the computer. But let's go ahead and log in. And now we're going to get a full Unity desktop with all of these components running, plus lots of other niceties on top of it. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the basics of a Linux desktop. Whichever one you choose on top of this is entirely up to you. So now I am on my standard Ubuntu desktop. I've got my window manager running, plus now I get a menu. I get myself a menu, a panel up top. I got me my applets. I can control the system from here. If I change TTYs and go back to TTY1, you'll see that this little graphic environment that I set up is still running. And there you go. So the next video I think I'm going to do in this series, we're going to talk about text editing. So it's going to be text editors, doing text in a terminal. We'll also talk about basic cut, copy, and paste functions, and we're going to take a look at that. What I'm going to do to shut this particular virtual machine down, I want to just get out of here and show you this. So if I type exit, I seem to have lost focus on my terminal because I switched TTYs, so I don't know whether I'm going to be able to do this or not. Well, no, I have focus there. I just can't see it. So, yeah, the focus is over here. Let's see what we can do with this, guys. Let's restart Compiz. So we'll start Compiz on that terminal. Nope, I just don't have focus. No, I do have focus. I don't know what's going on here. Can't do much with this. I thought I was going to be able to show you how to log out from here, but I can't do that. Do I have focus in here? Nope. That's just because I switched TTYs. Like I said, this is a non-standard way of running stuff. I was going to log out from there, but we'll just use this. And I've already logged out from here. And then when I shut down, that'll shut that other one down. Anyway, thank you for watching the video. I hope you found it interesting. And now you know a little bit about the X server, the display manager, and also the Windows manager and what they do. The next one we're going to talk about text, as I said before. Do check out Easy Linux on the web, check out Easy Linux on Facebook, and check out freedompenguin.com for lots of great articles about Linux. Thank you for watching the video, gang. We will do this again soon. Ah, so you thought we were finished. No, we're not, actually. You know why? Because I forgot to show you something important that I said I was going to show you. So let me tack it on to the end of the video here. Now, our X environment we have running on TTY1 is not working. So I'm going to show you this in a regular desktop. So I'm going to switch back over to TTY7, and we'll go ahead and log into the desktop once again. So you thought I was done, but there was something I wanted to show you. And then I remembered that as soon as I stopped the video, and I went, hey man, you forgot to show them this stuff. It's pretty cool. Okay, so we're on a regular Unity desktop at this point, and we have a terminal open. And we're going to use SSH to log into another machine that is on my system. And I'm going to use the SSH command, and I'm going to tag it with a dash and a capital X. And I'm going to tell it which machine I want to log into. And now, what did I do wrong? Huh. Oh, SHH. Duh. I hear you laughing. Go ahead, laugh at me. It's all right. It doesn't bother me a bit. When I'm not doing videos, I can actually type these commands without even thinking about it and get everything right. It's just when I'm doing videos, no way, right? Right. Okay. So, type that command. Machine's going to ask me for my password because on this VM I don't have keys set up. So now I'm logged into a machine in the back, and it's running on the Unity desktop. Now, in the earlier part of the video, I talked about how the X system was separated into a server and a client. What I have done here is I have told SSH that I want to receive X from the remote machine. So if I type in, let's see, what program can we run? Something simple, grsync. That is installed on that machine. Now I see it on my local machine, but the program is actually running on the other machine, and that is X forwarding. So the X server that is running on my Dell desktop machine in the other room is sending commands through the network to tell this VM what to draw on the screen. So it's using the X client here to do that. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is X forwarding. Forgot to show you that in the main body of the video, so I wanted to go ahead and show that to you. Thank you for watching. You know about checking out Easy Linux on the web and checking it out on Facebook and Freedom Penguin, so I ain't going to go through all that again. Talk to you again soon. Yeah, having a hard time closing the program. Now it doesn't want to stop. Here we go.